Good morning. Welcome to our Tuesday devotion and prayer time. My name is Tom Lemler. I'm a staff member of the Deer Run Church of Christ in South Bend, Indiana, as well as the director of Impact Prayer Ministry. We're talking and praying this week about knowing the stewardship, living the stewardship, looking at God's gift and your gift, and how God's gift is your gift, how your gift is God's gift. And so each weekday morning, we're taking a look at a different aspect of the gift, your gift, what you ought to do with it, where it came from, how to use it. And today we're going to focus in on a gift to serve others. And trying to get back to normal today after a weekend of snow, expected but not expected. Probably the heaviest snow that I recall for a first snow of the season, but anywhere 8, 10, 12 inches. It was a mess, but the sun came out and made things better. So it should be a great day today. But within that, there was definitely opportunities to serve others. Perhaps someone that needed a walk cleared, a driveway cleared, help getting somewhere. While we don't like bad weather, the bad weather definitely opens up opportunities to serve. And today we're going to focus in on 1 Peter 4, verse 10. It says, each one should use whatever gift he has received to serve others, faithfully administering God's grace in its various forms. A great verse because it makes it clear that our gifts are not identical. That God's grace, his gifting in our life, has variety. And within that variety, there's an expectation that we will use whatever that gift is to serve others. And we do that because it's a gift that we have received. And we've received it in a way that ought to empower us to share it. I think sometimes we become selfish because we think we deserve everything we have. We become selfish because we think we've earned everything we have. And we lose sight of the fact that it came from God and it belongs to God. And how much freedom should we live with when we understand on a daily basis it's God's stuff that we're sharing? One of the jokes among ministers, at least in offering times, is to tell people to take the wallet out of their neighbor's pocket and give like you've always wanted to give. But that idea that it's a lot easier to give if it's not your stuff that you're giving, if it's not your money that you're giving, if it's not your time that you're giving. But in reality, whatever we have isn't ours. As believers in Jesus, we've not only recognized that it came from God, but we've declared his ownership over all of it. And so sometimes our gift is financial. And God says we should use that gift of money to serve others. Maybe that serving is actually giving money, but maybe that serving is using your money to invest in those that can do more than what you can do. Sometimes that gift is encouraging. And you ought to use that gift of encouragement to serve others. Sometimes that gift is hospitality, of welcoming people. Sometimes that gift is rebuking and correcting. And how we use that is dependent upon how we see God. Sometimes we use gifts of rebuking and correcting in very negative ways. Not that we would ever want them used on us like that. But whatever the gift that we have, whatever God has put into our life, he says to use it to serve others. We understand grace being the undeserved gift of God. The ultimate act of grace is God sending his son Jesus. A gift we did not deserve, a gift that we could never have earned, an undeserved gift to the ultimate. And so as we serve others, it's not a matter of trying to determine do they deserve it or not. That's not administering God's grace. That may be administering our sense of fairness. It may be administering our sense of what's right, but it's not administering God's grace. God's grace does not look at us to see if we've deserved it. It looks at us to see if we need it, and we do. And I think sometimes, for some people at least, the serving others with the gift that they have is complicated because we struggle to know the actual need. And one of the reasons that we struggle to know the actual need is because it takes time, and well, time is not a gift that we're often willing to share. The needs that people present are not always the needs that they have. And sometimes the needs they present have to be dealt with before we can ever serve in the manner that's actually needed. And so we do these self-examinations every day even. Because sometimes what we have varies from day to day. We wake up, what do I have today? Sometimes I might have a $20 bill in my wallet. Sometimes I might have a $1 bill in my wallet. And what do I have, and how will I use it to serve others? You see, we examine ourselves. Sometimes I look at my day and I say, I have a block of free time. It's not accounted for at the moment. It soon will be if I don't put something in there. You understand that, right? That's the way life is. Our time gets chewed away slowly, and then all of a sudden it's gone. But if I examine my life at my day at the beginning and say, what do I have today? I may look at it and say, I don't have any extra time. In fact, I'm not sure I'm going to get everything done that I have on my schedule. But knowing that at the beginning helps me to know what I have in order to serve others. Now, in my role as a minister, as a preacher, there's times where my schedule is full, but something more important comes up and I have to bump something down in order to meet a more urgent need. And we prioritize like that within ministry. We prioritize like that within our family. We prioritize like that in life. But without a plan, we tend to serve ourselves more than we serve others. And so today, as we live life, what do you have? How will you use it to serve somebody else? Would you spend some time today praying with me? Father, thank you that you are a God that loves us. Your love has given us those things that we need in order to be right with you, in order to have gifts in our life that are meant to be shared. Your gifts are bestowed upon us in a way that's supposed to benefit us, but not only us. And so, God, today, help us to administer your grace. Not because we've deserved it and not because someone else deserves it, but because you've chosen to give it. And God, as we start our day, may we examine what it is that we have right now. May we examine what it is that we expect to have throughout the day. And may we at least loosely make those plans on how we're going to serve others with what we have. Always being open to you redirecting, to you guiding us in a way we had not expected. And so, God, as we live life, as we recognize every good and perfect gift has come from you, Not only the gifts that we've received, but the gifts that we give. And because you have given to us so greatly, help us to be more generous in the way that we serve. Help us to be more open in sharing the things that you've put into our life. Help us to have a greater understanding of the gifts that you've given to us and how we ought to be using them. And God, when we consider the greatest gift of all being Jesus, may we be very deliberate in sharing him and lifting him up so that many would be drawn to him. It's in his name that I pray. Amen. This has been our Tuesday devotion and prayer time. Thank you so much for joining me today. I do pray that your day is greatly blessed by God so that you can be a blessing to others. Have a great day